Bitcoin has been one of the most talked about investments over the past couple of years.
Alright, Bitcoin, blockchain, Dogecoin, Ethereum.
Do you remember the moment when crypto started making sense to you?
Okay, so when society was in its early stages, there was no such thing as money. We'll call this stage 1. The only way to buy something off someone was to go up to them and be like, "Oh, I really like your horse. I'll trade you my cat for it." You've heard of the British pound, right? Well, the reason they're called pounds is because £1 literally just used to be £1 of silver, paper money. It does the same thing, but now the money doesn't have value because it's made of pure silver, it just has value because the government says it has value.
Education is the key to the mass adoption of cryptocurrency, but the start of that crypto learning curve can be steep for the fiat sheep. If my personal experience is anything to go by, the first question you probably get when you start talking about cryptocurrencies with friends and family is, what the hell is cryptocurrency?
It's made a lot of people rich, but guess what? It's also made quite a few people poor. The reason being is because they're uneducated about the investment that they've made. And that's the whole point of this video. I want to give a beginner's guide to Bitcoin so that you're actually educated before you choose to make the investment.
Like this £10 note here in the UK, the note itself is just made of, well, it's actually made of plastic. They changed it recently because it's more durable. But if you look closer, you can see that all this actually is the Bank of England promising that they will pay the bearer of this note £10. Really, this is just a receipt, a kind of proof that you own a certain amount of money. But as technology has improved even further, we found even more convenient ways of storing and trading our stuff. We're now in what I would call stage 4, where more people than ever are buying things online and using credit cards, and really when you're at that stage, we don't see our money anymore. It's not about coins or notes or cats, it's just entries on a spreadsheet. Like when I buy a music album from Amazon, all that's happening is that my bank adds an entry in my spreadsheet that says Aaron now has $10 less, and then Amazon's bank adds an entry that says they have $10 more. It's to give you context on where cryptocurrency sits.
Well, here's how I answer that question. Put simply, cryptocurrencies are like regular currencies, except they're entirely digital. Each individual cryptocurrency coin is fundamentally just a collection of numbers and letters. This sounds complicated, but it's actually not far off from what we see with currencies today. Here's what I mean by that. Almost every physical money bill on the planet has a unique serial number. This serial number corresponds to information like when the bill was printed, where it was printed, and so on. In theory, a record of all money bills that have ever been printed and where they are is kept by a central bank, which shares this information with smaller banks and the government. If you have a debit card or credit card, you'll know that you have an account number on there as well. You also have a password or PIN number that you use to access the money in that account. Your bank branch knows your account number and your name because you had to provide your personal information to open an account. This info is also shared with the central bank and government.
So Bitcoin is the biggest form of cryptocurrency. It's the most well-known one and it's the one that's been the most adopted. Now, to understand cryptocurrency, you first need to understand what money is. Money is just an agreed upon store of value accepted by everyone as a form of payment. Money in itself doesn't actually hold any value. Back in the day, you could have exchanged money for gold. However, today, money is not backed by anything. The only thing that makes money valuable is the fact that we've all agreed and accepted it as a form of payments. Now, the problem with money is that first, it's centralized. It's controlled by the government and the central bank. This means with the dollar or any other currency, you're entirely at the whim of their choices. If they choose to constantly print money, which is what they're doing, and devalue it, you don't really have a say. Your hard-earned money in the bank gets eaten away by inflation and worth less. Another problem is if you choose to send money overseas, you get hit with exchange fees and exchange rates. If you choose to make transactions, again, you're often hit with more fees. The great thing about a cryptocurrency like Bitcoin is it solves all of these problems. First, it is not centralized, it's decentralized. You don't just have to rely on one central bank's ledger of keeping track of everyone's money, which none of us can see. Bitcoin, every computer that participates in the system keeps a copy of the ledger.
Now, let's say you have a $20 bill with the serial number ABC, and your bank account number is 123. When you deposit that bill into your bank account, your bank branch, the central bank, and the government will see and confirm that the $20 bill ABC has been moved into bank account number 123. This is almost exactly how cryptocurrencies work. Each individual cryptocurrency coin is like the serial number you see on a physical bill, just without the physical bill.
The way to think about a cryptocurrency is that it's 100% virtual.
Just like regular bills, almost every cryptocurrency can be divided into smaller pieces. In the case of Bitcoin, each BTC can be divided into 100 million pieces called satoshis, which are like cents to a dollar. A cryptocurrency wallet address is like a bank account, except that there's no physical card that goes along with it. It's just an account number. Because you don't need to provide any personal information to create a cryptocurrency wallet, this means that your identity is not attached to your crypto wallet like a bank account is.
I know the logo for Bitcoin kind of looks like a physical coin. It really is a Bitcoin now. But with crypto, there is no gold, there is no silver, there is no paper. It really is just the transfer of digital assets. But the core concept is exactly the same. Think of them as literally just running spreadsheets of who's paid what to who. But instead of multiple banks keeping their own separate records, with crypto, there is just one enormous spreadsheet of every transaction made using that currency. And this is called a ledger.
So it's basically impossible to take down the system because you'll have to take down thousands of computers who keep a copy of the ledger. So it's safer. Everyone can see it, transparent. Not one central authority has control over it, and arguably the most important is it's protected against inflation. With Bitcoin, there's only 21 million total coins in the system, so you can't print more and devalue it. So you look at all of the problems that is associated with currency, fiat money, and cryptocurrency solves all of it.
Most importantly, any cryptocurrency held in your personal wallet is held directly by you, not custodied by a bank like regular money in a bank account. This means that nobody can shut down your cryptocurrency wallet or block your transactions because you have total control over that account at all times. Now, the trade-off here is that if you lose access to your cryptocurrency wallet or forget to write down the recovery phrase you get when you make one, well, you'll lose your cryptocurrency forever.
What normally happens with a currency or just business in general is one normally rises to the top and takes all of the market share. For example, with search engines, you don't know Q, AltaVista, InfoSeek, or the web. No, you only know Google. You don't use LiveJournal, Friendster, or MySpace. You use Facebook. One thing dominates the entire sector, and that's most likely what will happen with cryptocurrency. So the question is, will Bitcoin be the cryptocurrency of the internet, the one that rises to the top? The answer is that it most likely will be. At least it's leading the race. So this is what Jack Dorsey said about it. The internet is something that is consensus driven and is built by everyone, and anyone can change the course of it. Bitcoin has the same patterns. It was built on the internet. I think the internet wants a native currency, and I think Bitcoin is probably the best manifestation of that so far.
Okay, we all love a good spreadsheet, but what's all the fuss about? Why is everyone going crypto crazy? Well, there are some distinct advantages to a currency system like this. One, it's decentralized, which means that while every transaction of a given cryptocurrency is all recorded on the same ledger, there are many, many copies of that ledger, and anyone who is a part of the network has one. You might have heard of cryptocurrency mining, or Bitcoin mining. Well, all that is someone who set up a computer to crunch through transactions on their copy of this ledger or spreadsheet. There are already about 1 million Bitcoin miners around the world, and Bitcoin is just one type of cryptocurrency. The reason they're doing it? Well, if you dedicate your computer's power to mining, say Bitcoin, then you will earn some Bitcoin as compensation. So the result of this is that if I go into a store and spend 5 Bitcoins on something, then instead of just checking with one bank's records, the shop instead checks with every single computer on this network if I have enough. And assuming I do, each computer will give the go-ahead, and then every single one will update their records independently. So because you end up having this many copies of exactly the same ledger, it becomes very easy to tell if anyone's trying anything fishy.
Because computers can earn cryptocurrency for processing transactions on a cryptocurrency network, this incentivizes more computers to join the network to process transactions and earn cryptocurrency. This makes cryptocurrency networks secure because there is no single point of failure. This is called decentralization, and it's the polar opposite of the centralized setups of governments and banks.
At the end of the day, money is just about mass adoption. It's about everyone agreeing that it's an exchange of value. And right now, Bitcoin is the closest to getting this done. Most people haven't heard of Litecoin, Dash, Monero, Ripple, but you ask people on the streets if they know Bitcoin, and it's likely that they do.
Which cryptocurrencies you decide to invest in boils down to your timeline and risk tolerance. In terms of timeline, the cryptocurrency market seems to follow a 4-year cycle. We're currently in the bull market phase, which is where prices gradually rise. The crypto bull market could end as soon as this fall and as late as early 2022, and the likelihood that you will sell your cryptocurrencies when they're at their highest prices is slim to none. Although most cryptos have seen most of their gains for this bull market, a 2 to 3x return on investment is still possible. And it's even more likely if you decide to hold until the next crypto bull market. Fun fact, buying and holding cryptocurrency will give you about the same amount of profit as actively trading crypto, which I don't recommend you do unless you plan on making it your full-time job. When it comes to risk tolerance, it might sound a bit funny considering cryptocurrencies are risky investments, but there are varying degrees of risk even within the crypto market. Logically, the more risk you're willing to take, the greater reward you stand to gain. Now, the easiest way to measure risk and reward is to look at a cryptocurrency's market cap. This is an extremely important metric to check because the dollar value of cryptocurrencies can be misleading. A cryptocurrency's market cap is calculated by the current value of that coin or token times its circulating supply. The reason why Dogecoin is ranked so high is because it has a circulating supply of 130 billion. And when you multiply that by Dogecoin's 30-cent price, you get a $40+ billion market cap. Now, you might think that Dogecoin presents you with an easy opportunity to get rich quick, but getting to just $1 would require an additional $80 billion of active investment, and that isn't all that likely to happen. As a rule of thumb, the smaller the market cap, the more potential that cryptocurrency has to grow, regardless of its dollar value.
Bitcoin is a currency that is 100% technology-based, and it's reliant on people eventually adopting it and using it as a currency. As time goes on, more and more people are learning about it, using it, and adopting it, but this is no guarantee that in the future they will continue to do so. If everyone decides to sell it and not think about it anymore, bam, your investment goes. But then, on the other hand, the potential reward for Bitcoin is huge. Its reward is way higher than the risk. So let's think about the reward. I'm going to give you a path of measuring this. So gold. Gold is similar to Bitcoin in a lot of ways. Although it's physical, it doesn't have much use other than a store of value. It can be mined just like Bitcoin. It has a limited supply just like Bitcoin. It's used as a safety hedge from an economic crisis just like Bitcoin. So if we look at the total worth of all of the gold in the world, it comes to around $12 trillion as of making this video. Bitcoin's total market cap is around $600 billion. That's around 20 times smaller than gold. If Bitcoin were to grow to the same market cap as gold, which a lot of experts think it could, we would see a 10, 20, 30 times return on our investment.